Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Mike, since you got here, you've talked a lot about wanting to win championships here at Indiana, Big Ten and otherwise. Um, it hasn't happened the first 3 years, but do you feel like this team is your most complete team that it might have the best opportunity to do that? And would you be disappointed if you didn't?
Look, every year, I think every coach comes into the Big Ten wanting to win a Big Ten title. So, it hadn't changed since I walked through the door, and only time will tell. Yes, we are trying to win a Big Ten title. We're trying to win a national title. Every year that I suited up, that's all I think about. I don't think about anything else. So, yeah, I'm hoping this team can have a legitimate shot in winning the Big Ten title.
Seth and then Mike.
Yeah, Mike, just wondering if there's any update on Kanan and Anthony coming out of the weekend and on how Trey and Jakai held up physically after seeing the court on Friday.
Well, Kanan is still not, he didn't do a whole lot in practice the other day, but I'm hoping today, because they had the day off yesterday, we practiced the next day after the ball game, that he's ready to practice today. And I'll get that here in a few. Um, Jakaya, he was a sore the next day, which you expected. Gallo passed the test, which was great. He didn't have any complaints. He practiced the next day, had the yesterday off. So I'm hoping that he's can log more minutes now. I'm hoping. That's my thought process, going into Wednesday.
Mike and then Jack.
Yeah, good morning, Coach. I wanted to ask you about, having so much new personnel this year as you do every year. Are you, on the defensive side of the court, are you tinkering with new concepts that fit these guys, or how are you approaching defense this year, and what are your early impressions on that end of the court?
Well, I always thought our defense was somewhat ahead of our offense, and I like where we are defensively, but we still got a ways to go. There are a number of things that we're going to try to do differently, a little bit anyway. I mean, we played some zone last year, and uh, I'm sure we'll play some a little bit this year, but I just think we have the personnel that we can extend and press a little bit and do some things of that nature, which I hadn't done a whole lot of that since I've been here. So we'll see.
Jack and then Zach.
Hey Mike, when you were recruiting Bryson Tucker, is there a moment that stands out to you watching him play that really like solidified that you wanted him at Indiana?
I saw Bryson 3 years ago when he was at IMG. They told me about Bryson. I said, well, let me go look at him. I watched some film way back when. And so I flew out to Orlando, went over to IMG and watched him work and walked away from that workout saying that this kid is really skilled. It can do a lot of things. But I was told that, he might go to Duke and we probably wouldn't have a shot in getting him. So, I kind of walked away from it. He never played on the AAU circuit, so you never had a shot to see him really play. Um, and after we lost Lil McNeely, I got the call, from his dad, and asking me, did I still have interest in his young man? And I said, absolutely. I'll be on the plane tomorrow um, to to talk to you about him. And one thing led to another, and we were able to get him here in Indiana.
Zach Browning, then Alex.
Hey, Coach, after the exhibitions, do you have any better idea of how deep you're going to want to go in the rotation this year, or is that still something you're going to figure out in the first couple of games?
Only time will tell. I just don't, at this point, I don't know yet. We just got to keep seeing where we are, throwing players in and out, and just see where we are.
Alex, then Zach.
I'm curious when you have this many new pieces, and obviously you've got a couple of games here early on before South Carolina comes in. What do you really? I mean, obviously you want to go in and win every game, but are there certain things you want to see out of this team in its first couple of games that make you feel good about where they're headed and progress since the first exhibition games?
Guys, I take it one game at a time. You talking about South Carolina and these next two? We got SIU-E on our schedule next. That's all I'm thinking about right now, nothing else. And just seeing how we can get better each practice and each game. That's all. That's how I've always approached. I can't look ahead.
Zach, and then Daniel.
Mike, you've talked about the way the responsibility you give the point guard position, the pressure I don't say pressure, but just kind of the load that you ask that player to sort of shoulder in your team. I'm curious, what was the process like for building that trust with Miles, especially over the summer, and figuring out what he's capable of, and what are maybe some things specific to his skill set that you think will open up a little bit more because of the way he plays point guard?
Well, again, we're trying to play faster based on personnel that we have, and Kanan, Gallo, um, guys that can push the ball, even Tucker, and make basketball plays. So I think that's the difference. I look at the Tennessee game, and my big concern, because they were so physical, watching them on tape, um, was going to be turnovers. And we had 10 turnovers the first half and 3 the second, and Miles didn't have not one. And that said a lot, because that kid, that point guard that they had, man, it doesn't get much better in the heat that he puts on the ball and forces guys to do things they're not comfortable in doing. And I thought he passed the test with flying colors in terms of how he handled the ball and made plays on both ends of the floor, and didn't throw the ball away. So, I mean, we're still getting to learn one another. We've only had 2 games, and he's such a good kid, man. I mean, in terms of wanting to do all the things right and making sure that he's making guys around him better. That's the key to, I think, true point guards, that they can still go score the ball and still make people better around them. And I'm hoping that's what he's able to do, because he's been able to show some of that from summer play and up until this point.
Daniel, then Tom.
Yeah, Mike. As far as how you all handled and approached the off season with, I want to say I heard about like blindfolded painting and just a variety of like off season gelling activities. Was there maybe a newer way that you tried to approach that this year? And have you maybe seen, I guess, more gelling from the roster you have now from what you had last year, I guess?
Well, there's no doubt the roster is a lot deeper than what we had last season. But we had to go get more players. I mean, we had to go get 7 players. And we had to fill a lot of different spots. Bigs, we had to get bigs, we had to get wings, and we had to get some perimeter guys that could truly handle the ball and make basketball plays. So only time will tell, man. Again, when you assemble a lot of guys on a team, everybody's got to learn what's going on, and then everybody's got to be on the same page in terms of the direction and where I think this team should go. So, we're still in the building stages and still trying to take it, like I said, one practice at a time and one game at a time. That's all you could do at this early stage.
Last question, Tom Brew.
Mike, your first couple of years, Trace was a leading scorer most nights, just sort of by the way things went. But this team's got so many weapons, really at all 5 spots and even off the bench. Do you envision this team sort of maybe having a different top scorer every night and a lot of variety in that during the course of the year?
I think when you put teams together, you know, the cream will rise to the top in terms of who will show who's the leading scorer. I mean, I've always believed that. And but it won't be just that guy. I mean, the way we've kind of built this team, there's a number of guys that can score the ball, and it might not be your night that night. You know, you just if it's not, then make somebody else's night better. You know, and that's kind of been my approach with this team because of so many guys that are used to having the ball and used to scoring the basketball. Everybody can't score it at one time, so we're going to have to learn to share it. And when you got opportunities to score the ball, you score it, and you go back on the other end and play defense or rebound the ball, and let's see if we can go back down and score again. So I mean that's kind of where I am with this team because we do have a lot of different guys that can score the ball, and it can be anybody's night on any given night.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you
Thank
on
you, Mike.
Wednesday.
All right, guys.